Hello everybody, this is Kyrix with another edition of This Week in Kyrix. Today is Wednesday, June 8th of 2016, and oh god, this week was a thing, and not a good thing. Every single thing that could have went wrong pretty much did. We're actually going to start with something I covered last week, which was the whole bike thing. My bad week started Tuesday of last week, which I believe I covered briefly in the previous episode. Okay. So, had the big ROC state regionals thing coming up that happened Sunday. Or that at the time it would have happened on Sunday. It just did happen for me, and I'll get into that story in a minute. So, Tuesday was going to be the last week we had to prep for it before the big night before study session, basically, you know. So I get a call saying, well, we might do Civil War instead, which was exactly what ended up happening, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I tell my friend, I tell the judge, I'm like, I might not be able to make it. I think I need you to pick me up because weather's been wonky. According to my phone, I'm probably going to get rained on. Well, he's like, no, you're fine, you're fine. And, oh, I'm sorry, at the time I would have left, sure, weather was fine. Weather was just fine. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll hop on the bike, ride it down there, blah, 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 blah. I live on 11th Avenue. I get to 37th, tire goes. Tire starts riding real hard. I look behind, check it, sure, it's really dangerously, I need a pump low, right? Spin the wheel a little bit, staple the fucking tire. There's the problem. Now, to set the stage here, they some of the avenues are labeled differently, like give it a name instead of a number. But around 100th Avenue is where the gaming store is. I'm at 37th, and I live on 11th. It is therefore shorter for me to walk home than to walk there. And I tell them, okay, now you gotta pick me up because my bike's thrashed. He's like, don't you have a spare? I'm like, yes, but I don't know how to put the back wheel back on properly. And even if I did, I don't have a pump. I would have to get $1 in change and go up and do the thing. Now, I could catch the bus up there, but then I wouldn't be able to catch the bus the day after, you know? But I walk home, get on the phone with him. Everyone's there now. He's like, oh, we're going to do Civil War. And I'm thinking, I don't have the money for this, but maybe I can borrow in. I don't want to have to borrow ahead, but maybe I can because this is an event I really wanted to play. So I call him. And I'm like, how much is Civil War? He's like, apparently they're like $17 a piece. I'm like, nope, we're done. No Civil War for me. Kyrix stays home for this tournament. So that was a thing. And that began the disaster dominoes. Next day, Wednesday, okay, have everything planned. I'm going to go to D&D like I always do, hop on the bus, take my bike with me, take my bus fare, play Ravenloft. And on the way home, call my friend, and he's going to come over and fix the bike, meet me halfway kind of shit, and then I'll ride home, like I always do. I get outside, and it is pouring as only Florida can. If you live anywhere else in the United States, you don't understand what a real Florida rainstorm looks like. To put it into perspective, we've been having rain all week, and I couldn't figure out why, because it's not normally our rainy season. We don't normally get super rainy like this in the summer. And it's been really hard downpours that lasted most of the day, which isn't necessarily unusual in Florida, but we didn't really have any warning for it. And I figured out what it was. Turns out we were in the midst of a tropical storm. I think we still are. Now, when someone who doesn't live in an area prone to hurricanes hears tropical storm and like, oh god, it's so bad, it's almost a hurricane, but not yet. Yeah, we don't see it that way in Florida. To put it into perspective, again, I didn't realize there was a tropical storm, even though I'd been in it for about 3 days. Because that's just kind of how Florida weather works, I'm like, oh, shit, it's raining. No, it's a fucking borderline hurricane. Small hurricane, but still, yeah. That should tip you off to the kind of weather that Florida is capable of dishing out, is the fact that I can't tell the difference between a non-lightning Florida storm and a tropical storm. just so you know. Hell, we went out in a tropical storm a couple days ago to watch a movie. I'm like, shit, it's raining. Get in the car, you know. So, I look at my phone, and I'm like, well, it's raining now. What's it look like tonight? Tonight it had or that night it had like a 40 to 60% chance of raining on me, or 35 to 40, that's what it was. Which, I travel with my laptop and D&D book in a backpack, and I cannot handle an hour and a half riding through the rain with a laptop and a D&D book and not run the risk of them being utterly and irrevocably destroyed. So I just texted the DM, said, look, I can't make it tonight, so I didn't fix the bike. So immediately plans were hatched. Okay, Thursday, I need to get up there, I need to get my money from my aunt and from Anubis, and I need to get this bike fixed. So I walked up to the bank, put the $2 that I had in, took 5 out so I could get a day pass. Plan was, because I'm going to wake up early, around 7 o'clock or so, hop on the bus, get to my friend's house before, like, 10. No problem. He'd fix the bike. I'd go home later that afternoon, wake up, go get my money. I slept in. I missed the alarm, and I slept the fuck in. So, missed that. That was gone. By the time... Now, I didn't sleep in like, oh, I'm supposed to be there by 8, and I slept till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. No, I was supposed to be there by 8, and I slept in until about 9:30. But by the time I got on the bus, it would be too late to get there, so that was done. So I ended up at like 3 o'clock getting on the bus, getting the money from my aunt. Anubis didn't have... He had to help his uncle move or some shit, so I couldn't get it from him. Got on the bus back home, yada yada, did shit. Hung around until basically the last bus that would get me to my friend's house. Waited at the bus stop. Bus comes up, bike rack's full. Fuck. Go home. Still no bike. So at this point, I still don't have a bike. Let's see, Friday rolls around. What happened Friday? Don't really remember anything in particular on Friday. Oh, wait. Friday was the 3rd, wasn't it? Yeah, something happened on Friday. I'm like, I don't remember anything bad happening. The 3rd. The 3rd is when I get my money, right? I get my disability check every month on the 3rd of the month, unless the unless the 2nd or 3rd would fall on a Saturday. Or let me put it this way: if the 3rd falls on a Saturday, then I get it on the 2nd. If it falls on a Sunday, I get it on the 1st. You know. And if the 3rd falls on a Monday that's also a holiday, and the 1st and 2nd fall on the weekend, then I'll actually get it the last day of the previous month. Which has happened before. Recently. I think it happened a couple months ago, actually. But anyway, so the first thing I do is panic. I'm thinking, oh god, I gotta look at Social Security. Did I not get my check? I look, nope, sure enough, I got my check. So I have to take the $50 that I got from my aunt up and put it in the bank anyway, because I've got bills that go out today. Get up there, etc. Put it in. They tell me, well, if it's not in here, it's on Social Security, not the bank. So I call Social Security, get them to give me a call back because I'm not waiting with the phone next to my head for 45 minutes. They call up, turns out it was at the Clearwater location, the Clearwater Social Security office where I used to live by. And they're like, well, your mom was your payee, and we sent her paperwork that she never filled out, so for the moment we're holding your check. So I have to call my aunt, and I have to get my roommate to take me up to a halfway point so my aunt can pick me up and get me to that office. Get to that office, spend about an hour, hour and a half in there. Only some of it's waiting. Most of it's just filling out the paperwork. And we're basically told, yeah, without her here, we can't get your check, and really, at this point, you should be your payee. So, like, why was she your payee? I'm like, I was a kid, and we just never switched it. So we do the paperwork. I'm now my own payee. My money's now in my name. Everything's in my name now. So that's cool. However, the check was there, but since it was to my mother, I couldn't cash it, and she lives in Virginia right now. So there was nothing I could do. So they cancel that and send out a new one, which arrived Tuesday. So that's no longer an issue. So I get home and I tell my roommate, I'm like, dude, it's going to come in. Can I get $200 today? Because I got to pay back Amscot and I got to pay my phone bill. So he spots me $200. And that's that. So Saturday. Saturday seemed like a good day. I got my food stamp card hit, so I got some food. I was eating something other than ramen, and I wasn't borrowing money to do it, you know. Got a bunch of ice cream, got some cheese, got some cheap Lunchables, got some mac and cheese with the creamy cheese stuff, got some turkey bacon, which was pretty good. So, anyway, I get told by the judge that he can't. Sorry about the yawn. That he can't pick me up to go to our friend's house to practice because he lives like 15 minutes from the guy. I live an hour away. Makes perfect sense. One of our other friends is in the area and works near my house, so he'll pick me up. And I'm told he'll be there to pick me up by 7. We'll get there about 8 or 9. Cool. So my floor of my room's been salted to keep the fleas under control. And I was going to not mop it up, but vacuum it up. I had done some laundry, hadn't gotten it out of the washer yet. I come in, take a nap, right? So I get up at like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, get a text from the guy, yeah, I'm coming to get you at 4. Or yeah, I got up at 3. He's like, I'm coming to get you at 4. I'm like, why? He's like, well, I'm off work soon and I'm not driving back out there. So suddenly all my plans to vacuum the room, get stuff cleaned up and ready, go out the window. But nonetheless, I go along. His car's having an issue, so we have to get a car part. Meanwhile, we're driving with the windows down and the heater on, so the car doesn't overheat. We fuck around for like an hour doing basic stuff, like fixing his car, waiting on him to shower, etc. Start driving up to Tampa where the guy lives. He texts the guy or calls him and finds out, no, don't come up now, because we'd get there at like 6. Like, wait till about 11 o'clock. It's like 6 o'clock now. That's 4 or 5 hours away. What the fuck are we gonna do? So we decide, hey, or he decides, hey, our old HeroClix judge, the guy who used to go at Tampa, lives nearby. Let's go hang out with him. And I'm like, cool. I haven't seen the guy in forever. He's a cool guy. So we hang out at his house for like 4 or 5 hours. Get some pizza, get some drinks, you know. In this case, drinks is like some Coke, 2 bottles of Sprite, and some Fanta. So we eat up there. I get a couple Krispy Kremes. It's awesome. Go down to the guy's house to practice. We're there about 11 o'clock. We're there about 11 o'clock midnight. So you know we're practicing. I did all right. I played like maybe 4 matches and won half of them. You know, that's not horrible, considering this is a format I'm garbage at. The guy whose house it is, he goes to sleep around midnight. We're leaving at 5 in the morning. Now, I don't know if I covered this, but I tend to go to sleep at around 6 or 7 in the morning. So for me to force myself asleep that much earlier is pretty hard. So I'm up to like 4 or 4:30. I keep going into the area where I'm supposed to sleep, shutting my eyes, and just sitting quietly hoping that, because sometimes that works. I don't mean to sleep, but I mean to store some energy for later. Needless to say, at no point do I lose consciousness at that house, as much as I want to. Anyway, I end up actually getting up 10 minutes before we're all supposed to be up, and just start getting ready. We pile into 2 different cars, start driving. We leave at 5 in the morning. We arrive at 10 in the afternoon, or 10 in the morning. Turns out we're going to West Palm Beach, which is near Miami, like 7 miles or so out from Miami. I have never been that far in the same state. Or rather, I've never been that far while staying in the state, because I've been to Georgia before, which is outside the state, and I've been to Indiana, both by car. So, but I mean, I've never driven that far and purposely to get somewhere in Florida. So that was not fun. I figured I'd be looking at something a little worse than when we drove to Lakeland, which was like an hour and 45-minute drive. Something like going to Orlando, maybe. Or something like Orlando, where it's like, oh, add an hour to... No. This was a trip to and from Lakeland. And that was one way. And none of us were having any fun because none of us fucking slept. Except the guy whose house it was. Because we all got to bed around 3 or 4 in the morning. So at best, we all grabbed cat naps, and I didn't even get that. So we're a little cranky. Not to the point where we're snapping at each other, but none of us are happy. Especially Judge, who's driving my car, because we're hitting toll booths, and he hates toll booths. For literally the last half of the ride, all I'm hearing out of him is, where the fuck are my taxes going if I still gotta pay tolls? You know, so it was funny, but I could definitely see why he's pissed. We get there at 10. Registration's at 10. Tournament's at 11, so we gotta do nothing but sit on our asses and kill time for an hour. Round about that time, I get a text from my roommate, who, of course, is mad about the flea situation, and he's decided that, you know, you gotta get rid of the animals. Like, if you don't get rid of them by the end of the month, you're gone, and I am, of course, stressed and panicking over this. Judge hears me, you know, he calls him, chews about, we straighten things out, but the whole time, I'm stressed, I have no sleep, and I'm sitting up there with no prowess at 300. And I'm down 20 bucks because that was the entry fee. So first round starts. I'm up against, God, what was it? Mixelpix or whatever? Mixelpidalic, whatever. You know, the fifth dimensional imp. We're just going to call him Mix from Superman. You know, the guy with the little purple hat, alters reality. We're up against him. Something else. I want to say maybe Jean Grey. And Zombie Super Skrull. So I take out Mix because he has this power to basically roll a die, and whatever that is, he can at any point swap that. Like, let's say, there's a power called Super Senses, where if I roll a 5 or 6, I dodge it. If his die is a 1, 2, 3, or 4, he can wait till I roll Super Senses, automatically turn it into a miss. Or if it's a 5 or 6, he can use it on his Super Senses roll to automatically make it if he doesn't make it the actual roll. So it's a pain in the ass. Not game breaking, but it definitely dents the game a little bit. I end up getting like a small kill off of him, like 25 points or so. Second round, or no, it's like 50 points or something. Second round, you know, I fight Will Magnus and Alloy, who is an amalgamation of all the Metal Men. So Will Magnus has support, so he goes first. Then I kill Alloy, he splits out the Metal Men, and they dogpile me. Worst part was we actually played out. After he killed the Flash, who was my last man standing, I said, okay, just for me, how about we play out that last round as if you hadn't killed me, just so I could have seen what would have happened. He's like, sure, I'm game. I would have killed 3 of the Metal Men and scored higher, but since Alloy's only worth points if you kill him and the Metal Men, I only got the points for Will, which is another 25 points or so. So I'm at 75 between 2 rounds with a possible 600. I'm not doing too hot. Third round, I fight Krang, Ultron, and a couple other people. You know, 2 Ultrons, something else. Big robot team. And due to some bad placement on my part, he fucking wipes me. I don't get a single kill. Fourth round, I finally win one. So I now have a grand total, or no, I had 100 points in that thing. I now have a grand total of 400 points out of a possible 1,200. I'm not too pleased with myself, as you can guess. After that, it goes to the top 8, which I'm not in. So I could effectively, if I had my own ride, just go home at this point. So there's nothing for me to do. They're like, oh, you could do a battle royale. I didn't have any money and no one would sponsor me. I didn't think to ask the one guy, because he would have done it if I'd thought about it, but I was half asleep. You know, what do you want from me? I end up crashing on, like, there's like 2 couches there. I end up crashing on one a little bit. Maybe I got 45 minutes of sleep at that. The one guy's son takes first, and all he gets out of it is like, oh, here's a pair of dice, here's some tokens, and here's a map. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Turns out prize support for this event was garbage, because I'd been told, oh, it's awesome, they've just got tables of prizes, you'll make your money back. Well, we didn't. Even the guy who won basically got crap, you know? So then we drive home for another 5 hours, and then I get to drive home for another hour, or ride home for another hour and a half after that. The whole thing was a colossal waste of time. We all should have just stayed the fuck home. So, yeah. my big debut at regionals was 1-3. And the tragic part is, I did better than I thought I would. I won 1 match out of the 4. And I consider that a success because I wasn't expecting to win any matches at all. Because I'm really kind of garbage at the metagame and I don't play 300. And when you combine 300 and the metagame, I just kind of fall apart. But it was fun, but not 10 hours on the road, $20 out of my pocket, no prize support fun. If you get my meaning. Now, I did get something. I got the Beast and Jean Grey from the all-new X-Men that a friend of mine who was in the Battle Royale pulled, and he knew I wanted them, and he already had them. Because he knows I'm interested in putting together that team. So that was cool. But I could have also just as easily gotten that at my venue and just rode my bike to the damn thing and not cost $20. But it is what it is. Anyway, we got the whole roommate thing sorted out this Sunday. We're going to get the pets on medication. We're going to spray the house, and everything should be good. But that's how my week went. Here's hoping next week's video will be better. See you next time. Bye-bye.